Happy Victory Tuesday, Miami Dolphins fans. Something we have not been able to do often this year is go live after a win, and it is good to see the Dolphins back in the win column. First time they got a win since NFL Week 5 when they defeated the New England Patriots. That was in the first week of October, but luckily they did get a win on the road against the Rams last night to improve their record to 3-6 and save the season. Now, some people might say the season is still over, but, well, when you have the Raiders and Patriots in back-to-back weeks coming up here, you have some optimism of the ability to go on a run in the third easiest schedule remaining in the National Football League. So, hey, you never know. And on today's show, we're going to break down the latest injury news following this game against the Rams, people who got injured in this game, what their statuses are. Austin Jackson, we have to talk about him. And then we're also going to react to what Colin Cowherd had to say about the Miami Dolphins because it was interesting. Welcome in, everybody, into the live chat. Shout out your city for me down in the comments section. Where are the people watching from? We see Ty Man in the chat. We see South to West. We got producer Cullen in the building today. Cullen, how are you doing? Oh, God.
Oh, baby. Welcome to all those in the chat. By the way, these accounts still show up on other shows too, by the way, which is hilarious.
Who is this? Bro. Yo. Who is this, bro? Like, actually, like, who is this? If you don't know what we're talking about, in our live chat right now, if you can't see it, there's an account that says Nic Rohloff stock account saying, I love you, I want to marry you.
Not even the correct marry, just marry the name.
I didn't even see that part. I feel scared. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not scared.
Never scared.
Never scared.
Colin,
how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's Victory Tuesday. I watched a great, honestly, it was a pretty good primetime game last night. Obviously, the Dolphins came out on top. A lot of people didn't think they were. The Rams were heating up. They were getting healthy. And the Dolphins, they just, went on the road, which, I mean, going to L.A., you're never really going on the road, let's be honest. But they got to win, and that's the most important thing. And now, Rolly, you may have changed your tune a little bit from what I hear.
Yeah, I'm kind of back to believing a little bit here, if you will, because of the schedule. Listen, the Dolphins offense in the 4 games with Tua this year, Colin, that Tua started and finished 20 points, 27, 27, 23. So the offense is playing well when Tua is out there for all 4 quarters. And can they just continue to play complementary football? That's really all I ask. All right, give me a second, Colin. I gotta send you this here. Can you make that? I just sent that to you. Yes, I've just put it in the script as well for the first segment. So we just got some news here as Mike McDaniel's at the podium right now speaking to reporters following the game. And he just said that Kendall Fuller, who suffered a concussion yesterday, is going to be out this week already against the Las Vegas Raiders. It is the second concussion Kendall Fuller's had this year. He missed the game in Week 3 against Seattle with a concussion, and now he'll miss this Week 11 game against the Raiders with a concussion. Luckily, when you power rank teams in the National Football League that you need your top corners against, the Las Vegas Raiders are likely going to be very low on that list, with Jacoby Myers being their only real threat at wide receiver and their quarterbacks either being Desmond Ridder or Gardner Minshew. So I'm not really that moved by Kendall Fuller missing a game. Hopefully he'll be able to go when you take on the Patriots in Week 12 and certainly in Week 13 when you travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving. But that's a little bit concerning. Interesting note as well here that Isaiah Wynn not ruled out of returning to practice this week. Door being a little bit left open by McDaniel. That would be quite the revelation since Robert Jones has a knee injury. We'll talk more about that throughout this week. Shout out to Southwest saying last night was actually a fun win. Offensive defense looked good. No big choke. I was concerned for a little bit there that we were going to choke. I got to be honest. But the Dolphins offense put the game away. Are we shadow banned? Well, what's the issue here? I've never seen this. Like, all jokes aside, like, there's actually 24 people watching. A little low.
I feel like that's a little low.
And we have 28
coming off a
total
win,
views.
too.
And it's not like we've never gone live on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. before. I have to go live a little bit earlier because we're going live on the Heat Report at 5:45. I need to leave myself enough time to make sure everything's set up for that live stream because we do both around here. 3 live shows in 24 hours. But, 26 people watching. I'm concerned. Oh, my God. I don't know if this person is trolling or not. But this Nic Rohloff stock account is a Bills and a Celtics fan. This has to be trolling because those are the 2 teams that I hate the most. Like, this has to be a joke. I don't know who this is. This has to be someone I know.
It's up there with the 2 teams. There's one team.
There's 2 teams I hate more than them, actually both of them. Yeah. The New York Yankees are number 1. The Atlanta Braves are number 2. Then it goes Celtics 3, Bills 4. But that's pretty bad.
That's pretty crazy.
So... Sorry, Nic Rohloff stan account. We won't be getting married with those 2 fan bases coming from you. Shout out to Elwood from G-Town, Virginia. What's your one-word reaction to the Dolphins' Monday Night Football win? Mine, hope.
You got hope?
Hope.
You got hope?
You got hope. You got hope. Because you got 2 games against the Raiders and Patriots. You win those 2 games. You're 5-6. And if you're able to go on the road and win in a frigid environment against the Packers on Thursday Night Football... Whoa.
Dolphins news. Former Seahawks linebacker Tyrell Dodson was claimed by the Dolphins. A new landing spot for the starter. That is Ari had it first.
Breaking news! Miami Dolphins claim a linebacker. You know what I tweeted yesterday? I tweeted yesterday that the Dolphins should take a flyer on Goodson. Sharp. Hell yeah. Dolphins add a linebacker. Honestly... we might just make that an entire segment and push it out after. Let me go back. I got to retweet. This is why you followed me on Twitter. I tweeted about this yesterday. Let me go find it. Let me go find it. Sharp. That's all I'm tweeting is sharp. All right, we're changing the title, too, of this live show. Maybe that's the issue. Miami Dolphins claim, what's his name? Tyrell Dodson. Ooh. Tyrell Dodson. Miami Dolphins. Oh, not Miami Dolphins again. Dolphins news after win versus Rams on Monday Night Football. Pipe live. Save. All right. I don't know who DM'd me. $10 is Jay the Fox. Yep. Every time. It's a sharp play by me, man. Okay. Holy shit, there's a lot of news. Sorry, we got a lot of news here. Austin Jackson's out for the year.
Oh my God. No, it's not.
He's having knee surgery and he's done. This is terrible. Barry Jackson. All right, so we're scrapping the first the injury news segment. No, because like I can't. I gotta squeeze as much out of this. Like, I think we're gonna. This is what I'm gonna do. Major Miami Dolphins news: Austin Jackson out for a year plus Dolphins claim linebacker. So we're gonna be doing that. The first segment is now gonna be changed to that. What I'll probably do, we're only gonna do 2 segs today. Still, we're gonna do the Cowherd as in the second one, but I'm probably just gonna keep that segment of the other injury news for tomorrow and then tweak it around with more updates. So sorry that we had to build that show for no reason, but we have quite. Also, it sucks. Why? This is going to be bad to say. Why did Austin Jackson have to get hurt now? Because now the Dolphins can't trade for an offensive lineman if there was one available, and we'll have to do Austin Jackson replacements on there as a segment. So now we got a lot to talk about this week, folks. All right, so
What a turn of events here.
all right, so this is gonna take a while. I'm sorry.
Hold on, I'm just making sure these tweets look good. Okay, so we have the socials for all of them. Here's.
Okay, we have that one. We're not gonna do the Kendall Fuller one anymore.
That's fine.
That one doesn't matter.
That's fine.
This one needs to be made real quick. Sorry, guys. This is a lot of behind the scenes of. Now I'm gonna change the title again. Miami Dolphins claim Tyrell Dodson, Austin Jackson out for the year. Dolphins news after NFL Week 10. Bang. Change it again. I don't know if it hurts you to change it that much. No, it can't hurt 29 people watching. That's for sure. I don't know what the fuck's going on today. I think we're shadow banned. There's no other explanation. No. No. Okay, so I'll help you out here. So we're gonna move this down. We're gonna move this segment down. I'm just gonna put a list. So we got the social. We got all the socials. So I'm just gonna have all the socials. Let's get okay. Hey, no spamming. Putting you in timeout. I said 5 minutes. I gave him 5 minutes. So now is that 15? Player bio, Tyrell Dodson. We're gonna have a depth chart of O linemen, which doesn't need to be built, so we're good there. We're going to have depth chart linebacker, which I'll add that, and then I can move it too as well. Because they already released someone, so oh boy, we don't really have enough room for him on here, unfortunately. What to do? Oh no, we have room for him here. Okay, cool. No, we're good. Dodson. All right, I'll move that over, Colin. You're not in the sheet, right? All right. Where are we in F? Sorry, you're seeing a lot of behind the scenes. We have to get a lot fixed here because a lot of news just came out. Of course, the Heat had to play today. Why couldn't the Heat not play and we could have just went live at 4 like normally and had all this ready? Goddamn Miami Heat. Okay. Fixed. That's in there. All right, so that should be in there. Depth chart 4. I'm going to pull up stats on Tyrell Dodson for his career. Yeah, nothing's changing here. Ooh, Dodson was really good for Buffalo last year. Yeah, well, you guys have that rookie that was taking over, right? Yeah. All right, yeah. Logan, yes, he is. I'm sorry. I can't really be focused on the chat right now, guys, because we're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff in terms of games. All right, so I'm Dodson. I'm going to make this L3. Nah, fuck, we don't need any custom L3. It's too much work. So we got the socials. We got Dodson. Let's start, when we go through this, Colin, let's do... Should we... Let's do Austin Jackson first. And then we'll do Austin Jackson, talk all about that. Then we'll get into Dodson at the end. So that's how that show flow will go. Let me just pull up some more stuff here. Yeah, okay. I just got to change all this copy, which fucking sucks. No, we're good. All right. Yeah. All right, we're going to kind of speed through this live show. It just has to happen. Because I have to do all this now. I'm going to have to redo all of that. And I don't have a lot of time to do that. Okay. He has 71 tackles this year? Fuck. Why did he get benched? His PFF grades aren't bad. Interesting. Okay. Screw the rest of the build-up, Colin. It's going to be a short live show because we have to get through all of this news. And there's not a lot of people watching. I don't want to, so who cares? All right. Folks, what is going to happen right now? We have a lot of news. Dolphins claim a player, add someone to the 53-man roster, plus Austin Jackson out for the year with a knee injury. And it is time to break all of this Dolphins news down. Let's still do that subway in as a cold open, though, Colin. So let's go cold open sub like we were going to do. And then intro, full screen watching, Austin Jackson, DraftKings about halfway. Should we make a weigh-in for this? Probably. Okay, so weigh-ins, we'll make 2. Okay, so we're going to make 2 weigh-ins here. Okay, give me a second. Actually can't say a word that I was going to use. Oh my god, I can't do it. Holy shit. Weigh-in. Should the Dolphins sign an O-line? Min. Type Y for yes. Y for yes. Or N for no. And then we'll also have grade the Dodson move. A, B, C, D, or F. All right, so we also have those 2. All right. Chaotic start to the live show where we're just breaking down. Should I go full Jones and have them spam Rolly in the chat since I called Dodson being claimed yesterday? No, I'm not going to do that. Max says, last night's game put me to sleep. Why? That game was fun. I had a good time. The wake up this morning was a little brutal. I can't believe. There's nothing worse than scripting an entire show and it means nothing. Adam says, finally, exclamation point. On what? Talking about us talking about it. We got to get it set up. Well, I don't have any time for sassiness today, if that's what's coming from Adam Sanchez. Hopefully not. Oh, one word finally. All right, Adam. Sorry, that was on me. I'm a little cranky today. All right. No other news, at least as of now. I mean, I knew it was possible for Austin Jackson to be out for the year. I didn't think it would have been announced today. But man, the Dodson news kind of caught me surprised. Even though I said I would take the flyer on Tyrell Dodson because of how bad your linebacker play has been this year, I'm shocked they actually did it because Anthony Walker Jr. played kind of good yesterday. But with that being said, let's do the first segment, Colin Brown. We have a lot of news to get to here on the show with Austin Jackson and the Dolphins claiming a linebacker to this 53-man roster. But I want to thank the 500-plus people that subscribed to the channel last night for our Week 10 watch party, and also say we're under 250 away from 64K. Hit that sub button. Let's get to that milestone right now, and let's get into today's show. Major Miami Dolphins news after the Week 10 win, where they now have a 3-6 record, but a lot of roster shuffling is happening down in the 305. Austin Jackson injury news will be touched on, as well as the Dolphins adding someone to this defensive unit. And we'll start with the bad news so we can finish on a positive, because Austin Jackson will have knee surgery and is out for the season. Mike McDaniel made that comment today at his press conference. He is expected to be ready for 2025 training camp, which is always a good sign, but this is not something good for Miami. Jackson, who just signed a 3-year extension this past year and is slated to be the starting right tackle of the future for the Dolphins, now out for the remainder of the season after suffering a knee injury. And the part that stinks about this is not only is Jackson a mainstay on this offensive line, but this group has been relatively healthy for the entire year. Like, when you think about it, Armstead, sure, he missed a game or so, but Robert Jones has been there for most of the season. He also got injured. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow. Aaron Brewer and Liam Eichenberg have been healthy all year, and so is Austin Jackson. So this is the first time that you've really had an injury to the offensive line that actually changes the way you have to go through the rest of the season. Kendall Lamb, that swing tackle veteran piece, is now projected to be your starting right tackle for the rest of the season, and we'll talk about it a little bit now, but as well as later on in the week on shows that we're going to bring here on the channel of Austin Jackson replacements. Is there a person out there that Miami may try to go sign that is still out there in free agency, or will they just sign someone from their practice squad onto the active roster, a la Jackson Carman? We'll talk about that throughout this week, but we're going to initially just touch on the impact of this right now, because this is not good for Miami. And sure, you are 3-6 and things might not be able to get worse, but your schedule does allow you to go on a little bit of a run here, and having the blindside protector of Tua Tagovailoa now out for the year is not ideal. And going up against a pass rush that features Max Crosby this week is not going to be fun for that. And when you think about trying to compete for the rest of the year, there's a lot of good defensive lines here, like the Raiders defensive line, the Packers defensive pass rush, the Texans, the 49ers. Like, that is going to be a concern if this offensive line can continue to play well. And let's take a look here at who is likely going to be the long-term, maybe short-term replacement of Austin Jackson, Kendall Lamb, because he filled in yesterday and played 51 of 53 snaps alongside that offensive line. And I'm just reading off his grades right now. 59 offense, 58.1 pass block, 57.1 run block. So it's not great. But also remember, folks, and if you do recall our video last week, we talked about Patrick Paul getting some work at right tackle at practice. Will the rookie play there? Probably not, because he's played left tackle his entire career. Now they are just experimenting to see if he could play and make that switch with Teron Armstead still being here at left tackle and playing well. But it will likely be Kendall Lamb playing right tackle for the remainder of the season, barring injury, for the Miami Dolphins. And you see this depth chart. This is up to date right now as of filming. Jackson out for the year on IR. You only have 3 backup offensive linemen with Andrew Meyer, Cotton, and Patrick Paul, and I expect there to be a player added to this group, specifically a swing tackle. Not going to name any free agents right now because we'll do that tomorrow on a show, but we will note that Jackson Carman, the practice squad offensive tackle, is likely the top candidate just to be signed to the active roster. He was elevated from the practice squad to the 53-man ahead of the Week 10 Monday Night Football game, and I would expect him to be the first man potentially called, but we'll see if they ultimately do sign an offensive lineman in free agency and who that could possibly be. But get down in the comments section and let me know if they should. Make the call. Should the Dolphins sign an O-lineman in free agency? Type Y for yes or type N for no. If they do, we will let you know who that is and break it down on a video. So also make sure you're subscribed. All right, we're going to get into the positive news on the Miami Dolphins with Tyrell Dodson, the linebacker claimed by Miami, in just a second. But we do got to tell you about DraftKings, the #1 sportsbook and casino here at Dolphins Today, and we appreciate them for sponsoring today's show in the middle of the NFL season and with the NBA Cup being here as well. The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups, every Tuesday and Friday playing for the right to advance in the single elimination in-season tourney, culminating in the NBA Cup Championship in Vegas. First time, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HEATCHAT. That's code HEATCHAT for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. And you could already look ahead to Week 11 where the Dolphins host the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll take the Dolphins -7.5. I think they win this game pretty big. The Raiders are not a good football team, and the Dolphins might be on a little bit of a heater here. And I'll also take the Raiders under 14.5 points. You just held the Rams offense to 15 points. I think the Raiders will score less than that, plus 154. All lines and odds are subject to change, but shout out to DraftKings. Download the app and create the account using code HEATCHAT. It's a dual link code for our Heat channel, our Dolphins channel, to get $200 in bonus bets when you place a $5 wager. Shout out to DraftKings for sponsoring today's show. All right, let's hop over to the positive news on the Miami Dolphins, and it is the fact that the Dolphins added a linebacker. They claimed Tyrell Dodson off waivers, and this is his 5th season in the NFL. He spent the first 4 years with Buffalo and was signed to a 1-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks this year. Ultimately was benched in favor of a rookie linebacker. I'm spacing on the name from Seattle. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't affect us. But Dodson apparently did not take that well, and that's the reason why they released him. And the interesting thing on Dodson is that his numbers have actually been good this year. 71 tackles, a pair of sacks, some TFLs, and when you look at his PFF numbers throughout the year, he is graded out this year 65.8 in terms of overall grade, 72.2 tackling grade, and 73.3 coverage grade. Now, PFF isn't the Bible or anything like that, but those grades are better than the linebackers you've had this year, like David Long Jr., Anthony Walker Jr. have not been good whatsoever. And then now that you add Tyrell Dodson to this group, there is a chance and a pathway that the Dolphins get him in the building, he shows out, learns the defense, and ultimately could be that LB2 to Jordan Brooks because Brooks has been your best player. And specifically, when you look at Dodson's grades this year in coverage, he's allowed 24 catches, 179 yards, no touchdowns, and a PBU. So he's actually been pretty good, and we mentioned the 2 sacks. And if you go back just 1 year, Dodson filled in a lot at linebacker for Buffalo, played 589 snaps, was not a crazy starter by any means, but he was very good as their LB3 behind Matt Milano and their other guy. And his grades last season, 90.2, 86.1 in run defense, 88.4 in coverage. So this isn't a bum. And also, this is why you follow me on Twitter, by the way, because I tweeted out yesterday when the news came out that the Seahawks were going to release Dodson to waivers. I tweeted out, hey, if Anthony Walker Jr. and or David Long Jr. struggle again tonight against the Rams, I'd take a flyer on Dodson because of what he's done in the past for Buffalo and this year in Seattle. And maybe Chris Greer's got my tweet notifications on, so you do too, because he ultimately does claim Dodson to add to this roster. The fascinating aspect of all of this, in my opinion, is what happens next in this depth chart and on this roster, because you just saw the linebacker group. That is now, what is it? I think that's 6 linebackers on the interior. Yeah, you got Jordan Brooks, you got Anthony Walker Jr., David Long, Duke Riley, Tyndall, and now Dodson. Riley and Tyndall both play special teams. Dodson is added to this 53-man, so who gets the boot? Now, we'll tell you who my prediction is potentially in just a second, but grade the Dolphins' Tyrell Dodson move, the claiming of the linebacker. It's a 1-year deal, cheap contract, linebacker that has decent numbers, provides you more depth. It's not like it's in any crazy A-plus move, but I'll give it a B. I'll give it a solid B. I think that's fair to say for getting a decent player for basically nothing on the waivers. The person who I think may get waived, and maybe they ultimately do get rid of Channing Tyndall or Duke Riley or something like that to go back to having 5 interior linebackers. Maybe they do that. But if I had to predict who they would get rid of, it would actually be a wide receiver in Dwayne Eskridge, who also former Seattle Seahawk. Why do I think it could be D. Eskridge? Well, this entire season, the Miami Dolphins have had 5 wide receivers active each week. Hill, Waddle, Malik Washington, and then they've had a flurry of other 2 guys. Well, right now, after activating River Craycraft off of IR, you have 6. You have OBJ, Waddle, Hill, Malik, Eskridge, and Craycraft. I think you could go back to only having 5 guys here, and we forgot to update this, so it's on me. Craycraft is not on IR anymore, and Barrios is on IR, so we just have to flip that. So, but either way, you now have 6 wide receivers, and I don't think you need 6 to be active. So if you want to keep all 6 linebackers, that's fine. That's why I would just release D. Eskridge, since River Craycraft is now active for this football team. All right, that's going to do it for this video. It was thrown together on the fly during our live show, and that's why you need to be subscribed to the channel, because we go live every Tuesday to break down news, rumors, and everything in between this Miami Dolphins football team. And after a win against the Rams on Monday, Chris Grier did not rest on his laurels and had to make some moves to this roster with injuries, but also adding someone to this defense. So make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a beat around this football team. All right, segment down. Chaos.
Very much so. There's graphics flying everywhere. There was just all the fun stuff.
A lot of chaos.
Got through it, though.
Gambino says subscribe to all my channels because because you're a real one. You're a real one. That's why.
Yeah. Feel free to drop those grades down below. A, B, C, D, or F. Or, if you want to drop a yes or no to this question, should the Dolphins sign an O-lineman? Yes or no?
McDaniel's hilarious, man. He was asked if the Robert Jones injury on the offensive line is serious and if Isaiah Wynn could practice this week. McDaniel said we should ask him the same questions tomorrow. It's going to be a busy day at the channel tomorrow with injury news and Austin Jackson replacements. Oh, Colin. Tomorrow would be a great day to have producer help with how busy it would be for me. But you know what? You know what's going to happen? None. Nada.
It would also be great if the Heat just played basketball tomorrow instead of tonight. Because then that would have just...
Well, but now actually I'm glad they don't, because I will have to do multiple Dolphins videos tomorrow, and I would not be able to do that if the Heat played yet tomorrow.
Yeah, you could have. You can make it happen. I believe. Yeah. Your stalker's saying he could help, so, or she, whoever it is.
Yeah, I mean, that person said they wanted to marry me, so maybe it is a girl. Who knows? What was the Raiders breaking news?
I did not see.
I just saw they did a highlight cut.
Oh, it was for something from Michael Mayer.
Oh, his return. Yeah, he's returning to at least the team.
To practice. I would assume that's what that is.
Yeah. Okay. Not a lot of people in the building today, which is fine, but with a lot of chaos going on, we're just going to keep it moving. Let's get into the Colin Cowherd segment and make this a really quick live. And then, yeah, I guess so. That's what I'll just do. Hold on. Before we actually move on, Magic Dragon Wizard. Buddy, you won the raffle yesterday. You did not watch the raffle, but you won the raffle for the Week 10 football, Magic. I think you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, so I guess I could have DM'd you over there, but I couldn't remember. But since you're in here, you won. So MDW, I think you follow me on Twitter because you told me that one time you were at the game and sent me pictures. Maybe you did. I don't know. I have terrible memory. But Dragon Wizard, if you do follow either me on Twitter or on Instagram, Dolphins Today IG, DM me so I can get your shipping information. Oh, never mind then. Magic Dragon Wizard, how am I supposed to get in contact with you? Do you have email? I hope you have MDW. Ryan, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Juan so doesn't matter. Magic Dragon Wizard. Email me right there. Actually, that was a mistake. Fuck. Actually, no, we're fine now. We're sending that guy out of here. I didn't want him to send me a million emails because I think he actually might have. I've actually put my email in the chat before, but like, with that person watching, I don't trust that.
It's just the immediate regret. Like you sent it and you're like, oh wait, no. Oh, it's a good laugh.
So MDW, email me there, and then we'll hopefully get that football shipped out to you. Carlos asks, can Dodson play on the offensive line? No. I would expect an offensive lineman to potentially be added to this roster, but we'll see.
Does that look good, by the way?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, cool.
Marvin says, I rule. I appreciate that. I try. I'm 100% authentic all the time. Like, I think there are some people out there that, like, I'm not going to say anyone specifically because I don't know them personally, but I'd be willing to bet that a lot of people who do content creation are not the same person on air as they are in public or in private. Cullen, if you think I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty much the same the entire time.
No, that's fair. I definitely, especially when you get riled up, because there are times where you just like put your headphones in and you don't say anything. But like when you're talking and engaged, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no, you don't get no fakeness.
All right, let me look up real quick. Free agents. Because I don't know offensive free agents right now. I know full free agents 2024. See if there's any offensive tackles out there. Statuses, available, positions, tackle. Best ones available, DJ Humphries, Charles Leno, Donovan Smith, Cameron Fleming. That's about it. MDW. Got you. I got the email. Thank you, my friend. I see you sent me an email. Now just follow that up with your shipping address, Magic, and then we'll get that shipping out. So a name, address, area code, whole 9 yards. All 9 yards. Yeah, hold on. Let me just gonna make sure. Fucking hell, I have terrible luck right now. NFL free agents, 2024.
Could be worse. Could always be worse, folks.
Yeah, Donovan Smith, DJ Humphries, Charles Leno, Billy Turner, Dwayne Brown, Riley Reef, I suppose. Be honest, they all suck. So, even if the Dolphins sign offensive linemen, I would not anticipate them ever being ready to start or being called on to start, and I certainly hope they never get called on to start. I mean, Kendall Lamb isn't that bad. Like, in terms of having to fill in for the rest of the year, there are worse options. So, I think they'll probably add someone, but it could just be Jackson Carman being signed to the active roster from the practice squad. I feel like that's the most likely scenario here. And then maybe they add someone on the offensive line to the practice squad. But they've had Jackson Carman, a former second-round pick, on their P squad for pretty much the entire year. So why not just keep him, right? And use him. This is why you've had him on the P squad. So, yeah. All right, with that being said, we're going to get into our second and final segment of the live show. Colin Cowherd had an interesting quote about the Miami Dolphins that I wanted to share and talk about on today's show. So let's get into that. All right, today's show, Colin Cowherd had an interesting thing to say about the Miami Dolphins. And then also, the path for the playoffs is there for the Miami Dolphins. We'll look at the schedule, look at how they fare in the AFC playoff picture, and break it all down. But make sure you do follow me over on Twitter, because you would have seen the Colin Cowherd tweet and quote before this show on my Twitter. I tweeted it out. I also talk about the Dolphins every day, and they signed or claimed Tyrell Dodson earlier on in the week. I also predicted that. So at Nic_Rohloff is the handle. Go give me a follow over there. All right, here is what Cowherd had to say on the Dolphins on the Herd on Fox Sports, saying it was the rare NFL game in the middle of a season that I thought could have turned a franchise around. And I actually do agree to a degree. Now, am I going to go say out there that this win against the Rams completely changed the outlook of the organization? No, but it did change how I think fans and maybe Stephen Ross viewed this build. And when I say build, who am I talking about? I'm talking Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel, and Tua Tagovailoa. And I actually detailed this in depth, which is also why you subscribe to the channel, on this video. This was the thumbnail. And if you want a more in-depth explanation before the game against the Rams, watch this video. But I went through a 13-minute show detailing why this game against the Rams was important for this current season to try to turn it around and make the playoffs, but also change the outlook on the build of this group, and if Tua, Mike McDaniel, and Chris Grier should all be in their current positions for years to come. And to me, the future of this team was absolutely in the balance, because if you're unable to get wins, and it's more of the same, that's an indictment on this terrible roster that Chris Grier built. It's an indictment on Mike McDaniel's inability to coach this team and get the season turned around. And it's also look on Tua not being able to lead this team to wins after returning and from the injuries. So not only is it important for them to try to save this season, but it is important for the future as well. But specifically this year, you can now make a run for the playoffs. And it's why I was so frustrated over the first 8 games of the year. Because when you think about some of the missed opportunities Miami had, at home in week 4 against the Titans, that should have been a win. I don't care, Tyler Huntley in his first game. That should have been a win. The Titans are a terrible football team. You should have beat the Colts in Indianapolis. You should have beat Arizona at home. You should have had so many opportunities to win, and you simply weren't able to get them done, and it's why you're in the position you are in now. But there are still hope for the remainder of the season. But let me know if you agree with Colin Cowherd, because we're about to talk more about Tua Tagovailoa coming up here in just a second. But let me know quickly if you agree or disagree with what Cowherd had to say about the future of this football team. And I do want to transition into a little bit of a segment about Tua before we talk about the playoffs, because Tua over the last 3 weeks has shown why he got paid in the offseason. And I know a lot of Dolphins fans out there are not Tua supporters, and I know a lot of people don't think he could lead them to a Super Bowl. You may be right. But the alternative is being in QB hell and having to try to do what the Bears have been unable to do and find that next quarterback. And you never know. The draft is a crapshoot, and there's really no free agents out there. Because since Tua has returned from IR, he's now been 3 games in. He has completed 77.6% of his passes through 3 games for 670 yards, 4 touchdowns to 1 interception, and you see the QB rating in QBR. He has been on a different level over the past 3 weeks. And have the yardage been there like last season where he led the league in passing? No. But he's been efficient. He completed nearly 90% of his passes against the Bills in that heartbreaking loss in Week 9. He's been efficient. He's only turned it over twice, one being a fumble, one being an interception. And he's put up 27, 27, and 23 points for this offense. And the best part about what I've seen from Tua is that even though he's returning from a concussion and it forced him to be out for 4 games, he is not shied away from being mobile. Now, he's not going out there and diving headfirst offensively into players like he did with Damar Hamlin, but he did try to make a tackle with his head on the interception against the Rams, which was a disaster, but we'll talk about that a different day. But look at what he did outside the pocket. When he was forced to leave the pocket due to pressure or he just steps up and extended plays, he was phenomenal. 6 of 6, 92 yards, and 4 of them were first downs. On the first drive of the game, he evaded pressure, scrambled out of the pocket, and fired a 36-yard strike down to Jalen Waddle, which set out Miami in the red zone. And then you look at what he did on a couple of the plays at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, which helped put the game away. Empty pressure on his blind side from the right side of the offensive line. He spins out of it, evades it, and on 3rd and 19, just evades pressure, dumps it down to Raheem Mostert, and you pick up 23 yards and get in field goal range. He was phenomenal yesterday, and that 3rd and 6, he scrambled out and found Odell Beckham Jr., which set up Miami for the final field goal of the game. But it's not the only reason he was clutch yesterday and showed why he's a franchise quarterback. On 3rd downs yesterday, in the second half, very specific numbers, but he was 6 of 6 for 84 yards and 118.8 QB rating. He was nearly perfect on 3rd downs in the second half. The money downs when your QB1, your franchise guy, needed to show up the most against the Rams. He did it almost every single time. He is proving some of the haters wrong. And yes, you can still go out there and say he is not good enough to win a Super Bowl for this team. You might be right. But he is earning some of that contract, and it's showing you why that when he's healthy and when Tua is on the football field, this Dolphins team can beat anyone on any given Sunday, and it will be a competitive ball club moving forward. All right, coming up in just a second is a playoff push on the horizon for the Miami Dolphins. But before we get to that, we are sponsored by DraftKings, and with the NBA Cup being back, as well as the NFL season in full swing, you have to get started with DraftKings. The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams, split into 6 groups, every Tuesday and Friday playing for the right to advance in the single elimination in-season tourney, culminating in the NBA Cup Championship in Vegas. First time, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HEATCHAT. That's code HEATCHAT for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. And you can take advantage of the home of NBA player props on DraftKings. But you can also look ahead to this Week 11 game for the Dolphins as they host the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll take Dolphins -7.5, and I'll also take the Raiders to score under 14.5 points at +154. They just held the Rams to 15. I think the Raiders are scoring 14 plus. Come on, no chance. Lines and odds are subject to change, but make sure you download the app and use promo code HEATCHAT when creating an account to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 wager. Shout out to the king, DraftKings. All right, let's move over to the Dolphins playoff push now. Is one coming from the Dolphins? Well, let's take a look at the AFC playoff picture heading into Week 11. And it's very evident that the division is off the table. The Bills continue to win football games, and boy, was I wrong on Buffalo. I predicted them to go 8 or 9 or 9-8 and barely make the playoffs as the last wild card team. That's obviously not going to happen. But when you look at the wild card for Miami, they only are a game and a half back of Denver for the 7 spot, and only a half game back of Indianapolis, and Cincinnati, who are 4 and 6. So there's only 2 teams ahead of you before you get to the team you are chasing in Denver. And when you look at the final 8 games for the Miami Dolphins, you should be able to win against the Raiders and Patriots, which if you do that at home against bad football teams, you're 5 and 6. And then that sets you up for the final 6 games with Green Bay, New York, Cleveland, Texans, and 49ers. And the Jets are bad, and they might cancel the season and give up, if we're going to be honest. It looks like they might have already given up against Arizona. So let's be optimistic and say you sweep the Jets, you beat the Raiders and Patriots, and you also beat the Browns because they stink, and that game won't be on Sunday Night Football because it'll be flexed out. So that's a pretty optimistic view, but they are 5 and 0, which means their record would technically be 8 and 6, which means you just have to go 2 and 1 against Green Bay, Houston, and San Francisco. And sure, that will be tough, but if you do that in this optimistic life that I want to live, you're 10 and 7, and that probably gets you into the playoffs because I doubt that the Broncos are going to go 5 and 2 in their final 7 games. But even if you go 1 and 2 in that 3-game stretch, you're still 9 and 8, and that might be good enough because I would probably predict that the Broncos go 4 and 3 down the final 7 games of the season, and you might be able to win the tiebreaker. So what am I trying to get at here? Sadly, I believe. And I told you guys last week that after the Bills game, I won't believe in this football team unless they get to 6 and 6 and won 4 in a row, beating the Rams, Raiders, Patriots, Packers. Well, I lied because that's the fan in me, and I am choosing to have an optimistic view on the rest of the season. And with how chaotic this year has been, with Tua being back, this offense having some confidence, the defense having some confidence after this game against the Rams, and potentially 2 not shutout games, but good performances on the way against bad offenses in the Raiders and Patriots, everything is heading your way in the final 6-game stretch of the season, which gives you the opportunity to really go on a run. Are the Dolphins going to be postseason bound? Can the Dolphins make the playoffs? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Let me know your thoughts on the matter down in the comment section. And to round out today's show, we're going to talk about the schedules of Denver and Los Angeles. Because they get hard, folks. They really do. And we're going to look at the schedule for both teams here because it's not easy. Let's start with the Chargers, who are 6 and 3. Everyone's surprised team. Everyone's excited that they're doing well in Harbaugh's first season in Herbert. Well, guess what? I have something to tell you. It's fraudulent. They are eerily similar to the 11-0 Pittsburgh Steelers during the COVID season, yet they're only 6 and 3. The Chargers are 6 and 3, and their 3 losses are against the only 3 good football teams they've played this year. Their only win that is worth anything to me is beating the Denver Broncos, but that was also in the first month of the season. So to me, I'm not really that moved by what the Chargers have done. And when you look at their next 4 games, yes, it's at home against Cincinnati, home against the Ravens, and then in Atlanta and in Kansas City. I think there's a legitimate chance that they go 0-4 in this 4-game stretch, or at least, honestly, at best 1-3. I'm being serious when I say that. At best 1-3. And say they do go 1-3 at their best. That puts them at 7 and 6 with 4 games left to go. We're right there, guys. And then games in New England and at Las Vegas to end the year isn't great, but it's not the easiest schedule. Like, I don't think they're going to go better than 10-7. So, like I said, you get to 9-8, 10-7, you're right there. Now, let's take a look at Denver's remaining schedule. It's a little bit easier than Los Angeles, but it's not a cakewalk. They still have their bye remaining, but they play the Chiefs, they play the Bengals, they play the Chargers, they play the Falcons. So, if you're a big-time rooter of making the playoffs, you need the Falcons to do a job this week on the road in Denver. So, hopefully Kirk Cousins comes to play. Now, I will say this with Denver's schedule. It's going to be tricky down the stretch of the season because you see this 3-game stretch for Denver. 15, 16, 17. Colts, Chargers, Bengals. The Colts are 4-6 fighting for a playoff spot. The Bengals are 4-6 fighting for a playoff spot. And the Chargers host a playoff spot right now. So those 3 games will be very decisive in who gets shaken up in this wild card race in the AFC. But the point I'm making on today's show is that there is a chance here that Denver and Los Angeles falter down the stretch of the season and open up the door slightly for the Dolphins to go on a run to end the year, going 9-8, going 10-7, to still clinch a playoff spot. Buckle up, folks. The playoff run is going to be fun. And assuming they take care of business at home against 2 of the worst teams in football, in the Patriots and Raiders over the next 2 weeks, it's going to be an interesting final 6 weeks of the year, folks. So buckle up and stay locked in here at the channel. But also make sure you're following me over on Twitter because we're going to break down everything around this football team over there. At Nic_Rohloff is the handle. Go give me a follow right now, and I'll see you with a video tomorrow. Go Fins. All right, short live today, but with me having to be live in an hour and a half on Heat and breaking news here that we have to do a lot of switching things around on the video aspect. We have a short live, and the audience, to be fair, wasn't that good today, so it's hard to stay live when there's not a lot of people watching. If there was like 200 people watching, maybe we would be staying live hanging out with you guys. But appreciate the 50 people still watching right now. We're going to go get that video out on the breaking news and do some other behind-the-scenes stuff here at the channel. Appreciate everyone. Peace out. Go Fins.